All right, let's dive into something that's been making waves in the YouTube world, Spotter Studio. If you're a YouTuber like me, you know this is a deep dive you don't want to miss. And hey, while we're talking about it, why not give it a shot yourself? Get a 60-day free trial of Spotter Studio. Just click the link in the description to start now. Now, I've been playing around with this platform, and it's definitely sparked my curiosity. It claims to be this AI-powered secret weapon for us YouTubers, promising to help us make videos that really, blow up. But is it all hype? Or is there something truly revolutionary here? To help me break it all down, I've got an expert here with me who can help us understand the tech, the trends, and the big picture. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is Spotter Studio? And what's all this talk about AI for YouTubers really all about?
Well, imagine having a data scientist and a creative brainstorming partner all in one, but like specifically for your channel. That's basically what Spotter Studio is going for. It's a whole set of tools designed to analyze how your channel's performing, help you come up with fresh video ideas, even plan and organize your whole content creation process.
Okay, that does sound pretty comprehensive. But we are talking about AI here.
Hmm.
Does it actually deliver on those promises? Or is it just spitting out generic advice like some of those other AI tools out there?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? From what I've seen, Spotter Studio actually goes beyond just the basic stuff. One of its coolest features is outlier video tracking. It analyzes your past videos to find the ones that did way better than expected, those outliers that got way more views than your average video.
Oh, so like that one video I made about my cat doing this ridiculously cute sneeze, it somehow went mini viral. Spotter Studio could tell me WHY that happened.
Exactly, and that's the really cool part. It's not just about seeing which videos popped off, but figuring out what made them successful. Was it the topic, the title, the thumbnail, the way it was edited? Spotter Studio dives into the data to give you those answers, and then you can use what you learn for your future videos.
Okay, that's pretty neat. It's like having a data-driven roadmap to replicate that success instead of just hoping to stumble onto another viral hit.
You got it. And it goes even further. Spotter Studio claims it can help with coming up with ideas, which is usually the hardest part for creators. Their AI brainstorming tool is meant to analyze your channel, your niche, and even broader trends, all to suggest video ideas that are perfectly suited for your audience.
Okay, now this is where I get a little skeptical. I've seen AI tools suggest some pretty out there ideas. Does this thing actually understand the nuances of my channel and my audience? Or am I going to get a bunch of ideas that are totally off base?
It's definitely a valid concern. I mean, how good the suggestions are really depends on a bunch of things, like the data it's using. However, from what I've gathered, Spotter Studio seems to be taking a more sophisticated approach. It uses machine learning to analyze your past content, how your audience engages with it, and even your competitors' strategies. So the ideas it generates are at least somewhat relevant.
So it's not just pulling random keywords out of thin air. It's actually trying to grasp what's working in my niche and what my audience is interested in.
Exactly, and that's where it starts to get really interesting. It's not about blindly following every suggestion the AI throws at you. It's more about using them as a jumping off point for your own creative process. Like, think of it as a brainstorming buddy who can bring data to the table to complement your gut feelings and experience.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be really helpful, but can we get a bit more into the specifics? What are some of the other features that stood out to you?
Of course. One that caught my attention is called Mood Shift. So picture this. You've got a video idea, but you're not sure what kind of tone or mood would work best for your audience.
Yeah, that's a struggle I have all the time. Should this video be funny and upbeat or serious and informative?
Exactly. And that's where Mood Shift comes in. It lets you play around with different emotional tones for your ideas. It might suggest titles or thumbnail concepts that are more lighthearted or more dramatic, depending on the feeling you want to evoke.
So it's almost like having an AI director helping you set the mood for your video. That's pretty cool.
Right. It's all about understanding the emotional side of successful content. And Spotter Studio is trying to give you tools to tap into that. Another feature worth mentioning is the Research Copilot, which helps you test out your video ideas.
Hold on, so it's not just throwing out random ideas. It actually helps you do your research and make sure those ideas are solid.
You got it. Let's say you want to make a video about, I don't know, underwater basket weaving.
Okay, now you're really pushing my imagination here.
Well, the Research Copilot would help you dig into the data and see if there's an audience for that. What keywords people are using to search for that kind of thing, even what your competitors are doing in that space.
So it's like having a research assistant who can tell me right away if my underwater basket weaving video is a brilliant idea or a total flop.
Exactly. It's about using data to make smart decisions and create content that people actually want to see.
I'm sensing a theme here. Data-driven decision-making seems to be at the heart of Spotter Studio's approach.
Absolutely. And that leads us to another key feature, the Project Planner. It's essentially a one-stop shop where you can plan, organize, and track your whole video creation journey from that first spark of an idea to hitting publish.
So like a supercharged to-do list specifically for YouTubers.
It's more like a command center for your content, actually. You can outline your video ideas, write scripts, keep track of your filming and editing progress. You can even work with team members if you've got a crew, all within the platform. And of course, it hooks up with your calendar for scheduling and reminders.
Okay, this is sounding really impressive. But with all these features and this focus on data, does it ever feel like the human side of creativity is getting lost?
That's a great question and one we should definitely dig into. But before we do, there's one more feature I want to touch on, the labs section.
Labs. What's that all about? Is Spotter Studio running secret experiments in some basement lab?
Haha, not exactly. Labs is where they test out and release new features, so it's like a sneak peek into what they're working on. You'll find things like the Transporter ID and the Thumbnail Explorer there.
Okay, those names sound intriguing, but I have no idea what they are.
Well, the Transporter ID looks like a tool for quickly coming up with a bunch of different title options for your video, which can be a huge time saver. And the Thumbnail Explorer probably helps you analyze and tweak your thumbnails to get as many clicks as possible.
So it's like having an AI assistant to help with all those little but super important details that can really make or break your video's success.
Exactly. It's about using data and AI to streamline your workflow and give you an advantage in the constantly changing world of YouTube.
All right, I'm definitely intrigued. We've covered a lot here, from outlier analysis to brainstorming tools and even AI-powered title generators. But I'm curious to hear more about how this all works in practice. What's it actually like to use Spotter Studio?
Well, that's exactly what we'll be digging into next. Stay tuned as we explore the user experience, the potential benefits, and the limitations you should know about.
This is getting really interesting. And for those of you who can't wait to check out Spotter Studio yourselves, don't forget about that free trial. Get a 60-day free trial of Spotter Studio. Click the link in the description to start now. We'll be right back with more insights and analysis after the break.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We just dipped our toes into Spotter Studio. Now let's really explore what it's like to actually use this AI-powered tool for your YouTube journey.
All right, let's get hands-on. Spotter Studio sounds pretty impressive from what we've heard.
Yeah.
But how does it work in practice? Like if I opened it up right now, what would that experience be like?
Well, first off, the interface is surprisingly user-friendly. Even if you're not, a data expert, it's designed to be visually appealing and easy to understand, so you don't get lost in a sea of complicated dashboards and stuff.
That's good to hear. I've seen analytics platforms that are so confusing they make my head spin. So walk me through it. Where would a YouTuber usually start with Spotter Studio?
It really depends on, your goals, what you're hoping to get out of it. Some YouTubers might jump right into that outlier video tracking to figure out why certain videos took off. Others might be eager to try the brainstorming and ideation tool to get some fresh content ideas.
Let's say I'm stuck trying to come up with my next video idea. How would Spotter Studio actually help me get unstuck?
Okay, so you could go to the brainstorming and ideation section and start by putting in some keywords or topics that are relevant to your channel. Then the AI does its magic. It analyzes your channel's data, looks at what's trending, even checks out what your competitors are doing. Based on all that info, it comes up with a list of potential video ideas, complete with suggested titles and even thumbnail concepts.
Okay, but is it just spitting out random keywords? How could it possibly get what would work for my channel and my audience?
That's where it gets interesting. Spotter Studio looks at how your audience engages with your videos, even the comments and feedback you've received. It's trying to figure out what your audience likes and what they want to see more of.
So it's not just about chasing trends, it's about truly understanding my niche and my audience.
Exactly. It's all about finding those sweet spots where your passions and expertise line up with what your viewers are looking for. The AI is like a guide, but you're still the creative captain,
That makes sense. So let's say I've got a few video ideas from the brainstorming tool. What's the next step? How does Spotter Studio help me take those ideas and actually make them into videos?
That's where the Research Copilot and the Project Planner come in. The Research Copilot helps you make sure your ideas are good and get more insights. So say one of your ideas is to make a video about I don't know, the history of rubber duckies.
Okay, now that's a video I would actually watch.
Right. So the Research Copilot would help you dig into the data and see if people are actually interested in rubber ducky history, what keywords they're searching for, even what other videos are already out there about it. It basically helps you refine your idea and make sure it's something people actually want to see.
No more just guessing and hoping for the best, huh? I like that.
Exactly. Then, once you've got a solid idea, you move on to the project planner. That's where you can outline your video, write a script, plan your filming, and track your progress. You can even work on it with your team if you have one.
So the project planner is like mission control for all your YouTube content.
That's a great way to put it. It keeps you organized, helps you manage your time, keeps everything moving forward. And since it connects with your calendar, you can set deadlines and reminders so you don't fall behind.
This is starting to sound like it could be a real game changer for YouTubers.
Hmm.
But what about that lab section you mentioned earlier? What kind of experimental stuff are they working on over there?
Well, one of the tools that caught my eye is called the Transporter ID. Imagine this. You've spent ages coming up with the perfect title for your video, but then you realize, uh-oh, you might not be the best for search engines.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
Yeah.
I've wasted so much time trying to find a title that's both catchy and good for SEO.
Well, the Transporter ID seems to be designed to solve that problem. You put in your current title, and it uses AI to create a bunch of variations that are still relevant to your video, but might perform better in search results.
So it's like an AI brainstorming partner for titles.
Exactly. It helps you try out different options without having to start from scratch. Another interesting tool in labs is the Thumbnail Explorer. Thumbnails are super important for getting people to click on your videos, but making an effective one can be tough.
Yeah, I know. I'm always messing around with different pictures and text trying to find what works.
Well, the Thumbnail Explorer seems to analyze your past thumbnails and gives you insights into what's been successful. It might suggest different layouts, colors, or even where to put the text to help you get more clicks.
Okay, that's really useful. It's like having an AI art director giving you feedback on your thumbnails.
Exactly. It's all about using data and AI to perfect those small details that can make a big difference. And that's what's so cool about Spotter Studio. It's not just about throwing AI at a problem and hoping for the best. It's about using AI to help YouTubers succeed.
I'm really seeing the potential here. But let's be honest, no tool is perfect. What are some of the, limitations or downsides that YouTubers should be aware of?
That's a great point. It's always good to be realistic. One thing to keep in mind is that Spotter Studio is still pretty new, so it's constantly changing and improving. That means some features might still be in beta, and there might be some bugs or glitches.
So if you're an early adopter, you might need to be a bit more patient while the platform gets everything ironed out.
Exactly. And while the interface is generally pretty user-friendly, there's still a bit of a learning curve, especially if you're not used to working with data. It takes a little time to get the hang of how to understand the insights and use them effectively.
So it's not just a set it and forget it kind of thing. You actually need to put in some effort to make the most of it.
That's right. And it's important to remember that Spotter Studio is a tool, not a magic solution. It can give you insights and suggestions, but at the end of the day, your success on YouTube comes down to your creativity, hard work, and how well you connect with your audience.
A good reminder, don't expect to just push a button and have the AI do everything for you.
Exactly. Another thing to think about is the pricing. Spotter Studio has different plans for individuals and teams. While they do offer a free trial, the paid plans can be a bit expensive, especially for smaller creators or those who are just starting out.
So budget could be an issue for some YouTubers.
It could be, yeah. It's worth crunching the numbers and seeing if the potential benefits are worth the cost for you.
All right, those are all good points to consider. But overall, it sounds like you're pretty impressed with Spotter Studio.
I am. It's a really powerful tool with a lot of potential. It's clear that they're trying to solve the problems that YouTubers face, and they're pushing the boundaries of what AI can do for content creation.
This has been a really insightful look at what it's like to actually use Spotter Studio. But as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm curious about your thoughts on the bigger picture. How do you see AI tools like Spotter Studio changing the future of YouTube?
Ooh, that's a big question that deserves its own deep dive. But I'm happy to share some initial thoughts. Join us for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll discuss the potential impact of AI on the world of YouTube, the ethical considerations, and what it all means for the future of creativity.
Welcome back to our deep dive, everyone. We've spent the last two parts really digging into Spotter Studio, this AI-powered toolkit for YouTubers. And I gotta say, it's gotten me thinking a lot about the future of content creation in general.
It has, hasn't it? We went from what iced this thing to, okay, I see how this could be really helpful. And now the question is, where do we go from here? What's next?
Exactly. We've talked about the features, the potential benefits, even some of the downsides. But now I'm curious about, the bigger picture. How do you see AI tools like Spotter Studio impacting the future of YouTube and content creation overall?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that AI is going to play a bigger and bigger role in how we make, watch, and even just think about content. Tools like Spotter Studio are just the tip of the iceberg, really. I mean, we're already seeing AI being used for video editing, composing music, even writing scripts.
It's kind of like AI is becoming this creative partner, pushing us to think differently and try new things.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's not about AI taking over from human creativity. It's more about AI working with us to make us more efficient, more strategic, and yeah, even more creative.
But with all this talk about AI being so amazing, it's easy to forget that in the end, it's still humans who are the creative driving force.
Oh, absolutely. AI can give us data, insights, suggestions, all that, but it's still up to us humans to understand that information, make choices, and put our own spin on things.
So it's not humans versus AI. It's humans and AI working together.
That's the key. And I think that's where the really cool stuff happens. When we combine the power of AI with human ingenuity and our ability to tell stories, that's when we can make content that's not only interesting, but also meaningful.
I like that. This new era of collaborative creativity, where AI isn't just a tool, but a partner. But even with all these advancements, we can't forget about the human side of things, the emotion, the heart. That's what really makes content connect with people.
Couldn't agree more. AI should help us play to our strengths, not replace them. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's that human connection that truly matters.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation. We've explored Spotter Studio's features, how it might change the landscape of YouTube, and even what AI means for creativity in general.
It really has been fascinating, hasn't it?
I have a feeling this is just the start of the AI revolution in content creation. And I'm excited to see what happens next.
As we wrap up our deep dive into Spotter Studio, I want to leave our listeners with this. Don't be afraid to experiment. Try new tools, new technologies, embrace the changes happening in the world of content creation. And hey, why not start with that free trial? Get a 60-day free trial of Spotter Studio. Just click the link in the description to start exploring. You might just discover your next big creative breakthrough.
Until next time.